And welcome back to another victory episode of Banditland Boulevard. Trevor Hauer here, Tony LaMonica there, or Patio Furniture. He is sitting right over there. The day before Patty's Day, we're doing another victory postgame. The Bandits have won 3 games in a row. They take down the Colorado Mammoth. That's right, the same team that beat them 20-9 on the road. The Bandits beat them 13-10 in Banditland. Climb all the way down from 4-6. They're now 7-6. Yeah,
7-6.
3 games in a row. Go from 4-6 to 7-6. They are streaking. They have full possession of 7th place in the National Lacrosse League unified standings. But the biggest news is the Bandits go on their first 3-game win streak of the year. Your stars are starting to look like stars again, meaning Dhane and Josh. Will get more in depth on that. But it's always a great time whenever you watch the Bandits take down the Colorado Mammoth, and especially when the Bandits are starting to heat up towards the back end of the season.
It has come time to where they have finally found themselves. And the question that you once asked me, I think this was during the last show, are the Bandits back? And after this game, I can declare it finally, yes, we are back. And I cannot thank the fact that Dietrich went out of his way and picked up Joe Resetarits and got Coltrane, Tyson, finally his debut. And the way how this team is gelling now, look out, folks, because championship, I don't want to say that too early, but it just feels like championship to us, you know?
It feels like 2024 all over again. You don't
Sure
get off
does.
the hottest start ever. You're kind of struggling towards the middle end of the season. You're losing to teams that you really should be beating. But the Bandits are starting to heat up at the end of the season. It's very similar to that of the second championship out of the three-peat there. So 2024 was, I think, what were they, 5-6? Then they went 7-7, and then they won out the rest of the way and swept the entire playoffs. So I'm getting a lot of those undertones here. Obviously, it's a much different team. I mean, the 2024 team, you had Fraser, Kluche, Brandon Robinson, all those guys. This year, you're a little bit older. You're a little bit longer in the tooth here, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But the good thing is these acquisitions, like you mentioned, by the way, welcome home, Joey. I mean, first shift of the night, just to jump right into this game. First shift that he takes out there, he goes out and bodies Robert Hope on the pick play. Just sends him down to the ground, creates a wide open shooting lane for Dane Smith. And then that was when I realized, holy hell, Joey Rez, Buffalo Joe is back. What a pickup there. And not just that. Well, I want to say welcome home, Joey. But Coltrane Tyson, congratulations to you. Congratulations to the rookie getting his first start in the National Lacrosse League, seeing a lot of time on the forward, on the offensive side of the ball. He got robbed a couple times. He came close to scoring his first goal as a Buffalo Bandit, but it is hard to beat teams like Colorado. And, just look at where they are in the standings. Look at the goalies that they have on their roster. But, man, what a warm welcome for those two. Joey Rez, welcome back. And Coltrane, dude, this guy might be a secret weapon as the season goes on and going into the future Bandit seasons.
Well, the way how Coltrane Tyson has played in the preseason, especially with having, formerly known Ryan Benesh, now he's with the Oshawa Firewolves. But the fact that he finally got his call, he wanted to do a good show. Maybe first shift jitters, if you want to say, considering he looked a little scared out there at first. But then when he got the chances to get back out there and prove himself, he just kept getting better and better. He did record his first point on a goal, getting the assist and also getting a penalty too as well. But the fact that now that he's feeling comfortable with the surroundings of greatness, if we may say, especially under the tutelage of John Tavares, he knows his game is going to gel and going to rise up to the top of how good he could become as a Buffalo Bandit future holder. But for Buffalo Joe to come back, especially like you just mentioned, his first shift, just laying the boom down on Hope and then just setting up the play for Dane Smith to score a great first quarter.
Great.
But we were really rooting for him to score his first back as a Buffalo Bandit. But again, he recorded 2 assists and he did contribute to the offense, especially to the power play unit. But we'll get into that literally of the stats later on. But other than that, it's great to have number 15 Joe Resetarits back in the lineup as a Buffalo Bandit.
And when you get traded in the beginning of the week and you have to play on Friday night, it is a bit of a culture change. You have to first of all, you have to fly from Philly over to Buffalo. That's number
About
one.
an hour and a
Number
half.
two, you have to make it for that Wednesday night practice. And then you got to suit up and play on Friday. It's going to take a while to adjust to Johnny T's schemes because I guarantee you his offensive schemes are completely different from that of the Philadelphia Wings, and he might just need that one game to kind of settle in. Same with Coltrane Tyson, too. I know somebody told me they said that he was a little bit nervous, which is, it makes so much sense. I think Josh Burns said that on his post-game press conference, and he just wanted to, play any single role that he possibly could on this team. And the nerves were there playing in front of 19,070 Bandit fans. And beforehand, he probably played in front of 4,000, 5,000 max. So the nerves are going to be there, but I thought they played very well. They fit into their roles immediately. Joey Rez, I think the goal numbers are only going to follow him as the weeks go on, as we've approached towards the March to May, as we approach to a potential postseason spot here. Joe Resetarits did get robbed, I think, in the first quarter on one point-blank play. He was wide open in front of the net. Dylan Ward made a good save. And by the way, I want to mention this right away, other than congratulations to Joey Rez and Coltrane Tyson in their first game back to Buffalo. But what I do want to mention is one of the keys to victory nailed for the Buffalo Bandits. One of our keys to a victory. Getting off to a fast start. Dylan Ward had no answers for Dane Smith and Josh Byrne. By the way, Dane Smith popping off for the first 2 goals of the game, something that we haven't seen in forever, it seems like, probably since last season. But can we talk about the Josh Byrne, the goal that brought Josh Byrne back? The behind the back, Dylan Ward didn't even see it to go up 3-0. And I remember when I was sitting there in that building that night and I saw the behind the back goal go in, I said, holy crap, Josh Byrne is back. Those were the words that came out of my mouth. And if you watched until the final buzzer at the end of the fourth quarter, spoiler alert, Dhane and Josh, they are back. They're heating up at the right time. And the Bandits look like they're having fun. And when it looks like they're having fun, that is when they are the most fucking dangerous.
Yeah, the 1-2 punch of the Buffalo Bandits, Josh and Dhane, finding that rhythm that they've been waiting for all season long, and they took it out on a team that's been always a thorn to our side every single year since 2006. And the way how they have portrayed themselves, not only as leaders on the field, but as the goal scorers and the playmakers that they are, especially how they know the weaknesses of Dylan Ward, and they know how to get to him either through the 5-hole, the short side, or even like you said with that Josh Byrne, cutting to the middle high slot and then just going behind the back and just making him guess until the last second when it's too little too late to score that goal. And then he's looking back going, did that just really happen to me?
He didn't even see it.
It did. He didn't see it until it was too little too late. And Josh Byrne now, it may have taken a while after from the beginning of the season to now, but I'll accept it, that he has now found his rhythm again. And that right there, like you said before, we are going to be so dangerous when we play the tougher teams. Here on in, we have obviously the Seals next, and then we have the rematch against SAS for the our home to their home. But again, they're always great against good teams. And this is what proves to them that the Buffalo Bandits are always a danger if they're ever in playoff mode. This is right now what we're seeing is playoff mode Bandits, and that's scary because they're so damn good.
No, big
this is
time.
why teams hate us big time.
I would rather peak now towards the back end of the season than be the Rochester Nighthawks and peak in January. Remember that?
Absolutely.
Remember when the Rochester Nighthawks went 4-1 in January? They're now 5-7. I mean, I would rather peak now and get red hot, scorching hot going into the playoffs than peak in January and then rapid decline. I mean, like, this is a Rochester team that got blown out by Vegas and Calgary in back-to-back weeks. And I don't want to make this a whole Rochester show, but my point is the Bandits are really starting to heat up. And not only are they heating up, they did more than we even expected them to. We said fast starts, maybe a 3-0 lead. They did do that. They also ran the goalie. Dylan Ward got yanked from the game. He got pulled a couple times, but only played 16 minutes, 37 seconds. He made 13 saves on 20 shots. Dylan Ward had one of his worst performances this season. I think probably his worst this season. Nathan Whittam had to come in relief. He got credited with the loss, but he made 24 saves on 30 shots. He had a much better night than Dylan Ward did. But I don't know, Tony. I kind of got the feeling that, and I know the Colorado Mammoth, they have this reputation of never give up, never quit. You're always going to come back. They're the comeback kids. They're never fully out of it until the buzzer reaches 0 in the fourth quarter. I get that. But I got the feeling in my mind that when Dylan Ward got pulled and that first shot from Tehoka went right over Whittam's shoulder to go up 4-0, I'm like, oh, Bandits are going to win this game. Like, I had those vibes, and it did get close. The Bandits were up 9-8 at one point. They were up 6-1. Somehow that turned into a 9-8 lead, and we all know that the game of indoor lacrosse is a game of runs, and these type of runs do happen, especially with the Mammoth, who had this never quit, never die mentality, unless you're talking about game 3 of the finals, of course, from a few years ago. They always come back. But even, I think it was that Tehoka Nanako goal, right over his shoulder to go up 4-0. The place was on fire. They were buzzing all throughout that arena. A complete reversal to what happened in January. They jumped out to a 6-0 lead. You jumped out to a 4-0 lead. But it was that Nanako goal, Tony. I had good feeling that the Bandits were going to hold on and win this game in some sort of capacity.
Nanako's been proven again time and time when you need to have that certainty goal, he still answers the call. He's got himself a hat trick this night, and not only that, but his goal streak still continues. It has been scoring ever since game 1 to now. He has been that go-to number 1 guy, not just saying figuratively speaking of his jersey number, but the fact is that they look to him to score those tough high slot goals right in the goaltender's face, and he does it with no problems. And not only did I believe he scored on Ward, but he also scored on Whittam. And the fact that he got his hat trick with both goaltenders in the net, he could have a third goalie and he'd still get a hat trick. But the fact is that what he did this game says, guys, I might get down and dirty in the high slot area where it's going to be brutal for me, but I'll still find ways to score goals. And he does it every freaking game. So what more can I say about number 1, except he's proven it once again to be the go-to guy in that tough area.
And I also want to mention Nanako's goal on the breakaway. Remember when it was 9-8? Colorado makes it 9-8, and it's kind of looking like anybody's game. How do the Bandits respond? Quick pass from Steve Priolo. Great feed from Steve Priolo. Finds a streaking Nanako on a breakaway, and they get that goal right back. If this was the Bandits of maybe late December, early January, I don't know, truthfully, if they hold on and win that game. But you're starting to see a culture shift. This is the post-deadline pursuit to the playoffs. You add Joe Resetarits, complements Tehoka Nanako very well. You put Coltrane Tyson in the game. I'm excited to see when Tyler Hendricks finally gets a start too. That'll be fun to see. He was a healthy scratch in this game, but I don't know what it is, Tony, but something after that Saskatchewan game really started this whole run for the Bandits. Their season was on the line. And how do they respond? They get 3 straight wins against 3 top 5 teams at the time. Yep. Toronto was a top 5 team when they played them. Saskatchewan was the best team in the freaking league. And then Colorado is 3rd in the league right now. So the Bandits are beating some of the top teams. And when you bring in guys like Joe Resetarits and Coltrane Tyson, who did nothing but set picks and get crucial assists in this game, not only set picks, but create shooting lanes for Dhane and Josh. We have mentioned on this show multiple times, Tony, that losing Chris Kluche was huge because he was the one that would separate the defense and create shooting lanes for Dhane and Josh and have them get open. Well, Chase Fraser would do the same thing. But you got Coltrane Tyson in there now, who did a fantastic job at setting picks and creating shooting lanes. Joe Resetarits, I've never seen him play this physical in my life, but I love it. I love it at 36 years old that he's laying out Robert Hope, that he's laying out all these, Andrew Q in the corner. Speaking of Andrew Q, and I know we're kind of going all over the place here because it was such a good game, but Coltrane Tyson, he has gained a lot of my respect, not only because he was on this show, but because of his physical presence on the floor. Andrew Q, being a typical Mammoth player behind the play. They never play during the whistle. They always play behind the play, right? They always try to rough them up behind the play when the ref's not looking. There was one play down by my end. I think it was the 3rd quarter. But Colorado was on the out. They were on the breakout pass. and Andrew Q is just roughing up Coltrane in the corner, just grabbing him, trying to hold him back, whatever, just to get under his skin. He's just on him. He's all over his back. Everyone in our section is like, what is this? What are we doing here? And Coltrane shakes him off. Just almost, I don't even know what you can call it. He almost like hip tossed him into the corner. And ever since I saw that, I'm like, oh yeah, Coltrane's not messing around. If you think you can mess with this 6'8" beast specimen of a human being on offense, yeah, you got another thing coming. But I can tell you this, man, Joey Resetarits, I think the Bandits will keep bringing him back on 1-year contracts. Coltrane Tyson is going to be a huge part of this future. And this, for the next generation of Bandit fans that are starting to go to games this year and next year, I don't know, man. Resetarits and Coltrane Tyson might be a couple fan favorites amongst the new fans and some of the older fans too.
Well, when you have the old and now bringing in with the new with Tyson, like Resetarits has been, we already know him since years back before he went to Philadelphia and so forth. But what he brings to the table is that little push that we need for the power for our special teams, number one, and on the offense as well. Because he can score goals at will whenever he wants to, and he can set up plays whenever he wants to. Joe Resetarits, when I saw him on the floor with Dhane and Josh, I'm going, holy crap, every time they're going to score a goal, every freaking shift. And it has happened like that because experience helps out the offense so good, especially with having a player like that who's averaged 100+ points per season. And on top of that, you have the dynamic duo who has crushing numbers every single season for the last, 5-6 years?
At least.
I mean, what does that tell you? That line itself is dangerous to play against. And then you throw either Tahoka, or you throw Scanlon, or you throw Tyson, or you throw Buchanan. I mean, we can name them all. It is just whatever Dietrich and Tavares has cooked up. I thank you both because of how good you have portrayed how this Buffalo Bandits team is to a perfect T, and it was unbelievable. And I can't. Oh man, I'm lost for words. That's basically how it is because I just don't know what to say. I'm in awe. That's basically how it is.
No, it's crazy that we're even having this conversation about like Resetarits again. Like I still don't.
I'm still in shock. We got him.
Yeah. But I mean, when you have a player like that on your offense, and I said this at the game, when you have a player like Resetarits on your offense, defenses will play back and create shooting lanes for your other players because they have to respect a player of his caliber. He's a guy that consistently triple-digit points every single season. And when he's out there, teams watch him. But when you have teams watching him, that leaves Dhane and Josh wide open. And look at that. When you have Resetarits on the team, Dhane and Josh each get a 9-point night, and they're looking like themselves again. So what does that tell you? There's a reason why Lucas Nielsen was traded and a second-round pick was traded to bring this guy in because Steve Dietrich knows that this core can still win now. And all Tony and I have told you guys on this show is this team is totally capable of making another deep postseason run, contending for that, putting yourself in that conversation to be, one of the most historic franchises in history and be the first team to ever four-peat. Put yourself in that conversation. We've been telling you guys that this team is capable. We've known
Still
that.
Possible.
And then when you throw the rookie in, who not a lot of teams have a lot of film on, and just a big screen guy in front of the net too, by the way. 6'8", Coltrane Tyson, put him right in front of the net. And, I mean, just Joe Resetarits' numbers speak for themselves. I mean, the fact that he's back, and I wanted to run through a wall after watching his press conference where he's saying, like, he's fired up going back to Buffalo. And when he got the call from Steve Dietrich and Paul Day saying that, or when he got the call from Paul Day from Philadelphia saying that he was getting traded back to Buffalo, he put down the phone and he said that he called his wife and he cried tears of joy. I mean, this is a guy who wants to win a championship. This is a guy who loves Buffalo. This is a guy. This is the Hamburg kid. This is Buffalo Joe. So the fact that he's fired up to play with Dhane, fired up to play with Josh, to be on a line with Coltrane, to be on a line with Kyle Buchanan, I think the fact that he was out there and the fact that the defenses had to respect that he was out there was one of the main reasons why the Bandits got over 12 goals in this game and beat a really hot team like the Colorado Mammoth. They have been on a little bit of a dip the past couple weeks or so, but the Bandits took full advantage of that. And I don't want to make this just a huge Joey Resetarits show because it's always great to have him on there. I want to talk about Dhane and Josh. First game all season long where I'm fully convinced it only took up to game 13 for Dhane and Josh to finally live up to the Dhane and Josh potential that we're used to seeing for years and years and years on end.
4 goals apiece, 5 assists apiece, 9 total points together as 18 points combined. What does that tell you? That tells you the 1-2 punch is back, and they are more dangerous than ever. Now that they've got more, as we could say, more clearer chances to score more points and goals because, like you stated, with Joe Resetarits being there and being like that Chris Cloutier kind of guy who sets the picks and gives them the lanes to shoot, that just tells me right there, folks, is that these 2 guys are now at the right time, at the right place, especially late in the season, can score at will, can score 10 points or better per game now. I got a feeling double digits is coming because when we go against tough teams, they just get better and better, and it just makes it more exciting to watch these guys play, especially now going against San Diego next, who are actually now on a 2-game losing streak after losing to SAS, which Saskatchewan now has just punched themselves into the playoff picture, but that's just a playoff spot as of right now. They haven't claimed first yet because Colorado still has a chance to surpass them. So does Vancouver. And right now with the Bandits doing what they do best, and they have to play those specific teams, they can rise and surpass them by playing the way they played against Colorado, showing a statement game by beating them 13-10 and getting redemption after that 20-9 ugly loss back.
Yeah, leave that in January. Leave that 20
Leave it alone.
In January because we don't ever need to see that again. I thought that the penalties for the most part, I thought the Bandits were pretty much outside of maybe the Dane Smith one. I didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he's trying to step on Dylan Ward's stick and step on the ball. That penalty that
was foolish.
Boneheaded move.
Maybe. Let's say foolish, but he was trying to dig for the ball because it was still loose. And that's what they said they called Dane Smith on for getting, crease violation.
Yeah, you can't step on the goalie's stick, so I don't know why Dane.
Right, but you could still try to. I think he didn't mean to because he was trying to go for the ball to get it away from Dylan Ward at the time. But due to circumstances and poor timing, he did land on the goalie's stick. So that's what happened.
I also did. We also saw a first. When was the last time you saw Kyle Buchanan take a roughing penalty ever?
That probably in years. I mean, between him and Connor Cook, I just didn't know what was going on. But they were both running their mouths at each other, like what was going. And then the ref says, "All right, you both are going to the box." I'm going. That's not like Kyle Buchanan to get a penalty like that. But I was in shock. I was like, "Is Kyle Buchanan really going to the box?" First time I've seen him go into the box in the years I've seen him play.
It was hilarious to see him in there because it looked foreign to him. He doesn't sit in the penalty box ever. He's usually a pretty good guy out there on the field.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Sometimes when things get heated, especially with the Bandits and the Mammoth, things will get heated. So I think anybody's free game to take a trip to the sin bin every now and then. Coltrane Tyson, check from behind. Whatever. I thought he was just laying a physical presence there. I don't hate that too much. The Josh Byrne holding one, whatever. I thought they were okay taking penalties.
That was spot on. That was definitely a hold.
Yeah, I thought they were okay. The Mammoth only went 1 for 3 on the power play. The Bandits went 1 for 2. Face-offs were pretty much down the middle. Connor Farrell won 13 of 27, 50 shots on goal. Matt Vince had a hell of a night too. Played the full 60, blew up 10 goals against a red-hot offense. Made 45 saves on 55 shots. This is the Matt Vince this is all we're asking for. We're asking for maybe
lockdown Vince.
Maybe the days of consistently holding teams to under 10 goals it might be behind him. But if you can win these games and pretty much virtually shut down Andrew Q and Jack Hanna and that entire Colorado Mammoth offense, I'm fine with giving up 10 goals. 10 goals at home should be enough to win the game. And that goes back all the way to January too. I wish we could score more than 10 against Ottawa and Philly. That's a whole different story there. But we also got to give credit to the defense too, because Tony, this defense was phenomenal. I thought Paul Dawson played out of his mind. I thought the third goal that Colorado scored, Paul Dawson stopped running for no reason. They threw an absolute hospital pass across the middle, and Dawson stopped, let him wind up and shoot and score. And I was saying, you're lucky Dawson stopped and some reason let you shoot that ball because that was a buddy pass. You're lucky you're still alive after shooting that. I don't remember who actually scored that goal. That was Saris. Saris from Gillies and Cook.
Yep.
He's lucky he wasn't looking up at the lights at the KeyBank Center getting mollywopped by Paul Dawson. But that was one of the only real key critiques I had on defense. I thought other than that, Dawson had a great game. I thought Thomas Whitty had a great game, 4 loose balls. The number one guy I want to talk about, though, I want to talk about 2 guys on defense.
Sure.
Number 1, Taylor Dooley. I mean, this guy, you can plug and play him any single role. He'll always play solid on defense. Mm-hmm. Did I want to see Carter Coffey out there?
Yes.
Somewhat. I definitely did. I thought he earned another start, especially after his fantastic performance up in Hamilton a couple weeks prior. I thought he was phenomenal in that game. Probably was deserving of another start, but he'll get more of his time. He's just a rookie. He'll get more of his time out there. But I thought Taylor Dooley, in the games that he's played this year, has been very consistent. He's been a very solid defensive player on this team. But the number one guy on defense I need to talk about is Mitchell Dr. DeSnew. I need to talk about him. 11 loose balls, 3 hits, and I think he had 2 turnovers caused.
Yep.
Mitch DeSnew is on another level. I mean, he needs to be in conversation of Defensive Player of the Year. If Mitch DeSnew is not on this Bandits team, we saw what the team was like when he was injured. Remember, they couldn't win a freaking game when he wasn't on. He's so valuable to this team. I'm just saying, 11 loose balls, 2 turnovers caused, 3 hits. I think he needs to be in the conversation. Not saying he should win it, because there are a lot of great defensemen out there.
Yep.
In the entire NLL, but put him in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, number 12 out there is, like you said, gone from flat cement foot, been released to Toronto. He did his thing. He won Defensive Player of the Year for that team for a reason. We give him the call back. He comes back to Buffalo, and he makes not only a statement to us to let him know that this is a different Mitch DeSnew, but a more matured Mitch DeSnew, and he has really picked it up in the defensive spot, especially with the loose ball category. And not only that, but setting up the way to get the transition going, to get the offense back on the field, and how good he has been defensively by getting those turnovers, especially when they don't expect anything from a guy hitting your stick to get the loose ball. And he's so good at doing those turnovers against his opponents. But to have him on this team, that's a blessing in disguise alone. And that's huge for how good this defensive man has come back to Buffalo to play the way he is. And kudos to you, number 12. You are definitely making me a believer out of you.
Yeah, Mitch DeSnew is on another level. I think this defense entirely is starting to look a lot better. Steve Priola looked a lot better too. Paul Dawson had a much better week this week than he did against Saskatchewan. Spanger, yeah, nothing bad to say. Zach Belcher looked pretty solid. I thought that entire defensive – Wires too, absolutely. I thought that this whole defense, top to bottom, very good. If you can hold the Colorado Mammoth, who were 9-4 at the time, to 10 goals, I would say I would take that. If you told me before the game Colorado would score 10 goals, would you take that? I would say absolutely. I think the Bandits should
absolutely.
And if you also told me Dylan Ward would only play 16 and a half minutes, I would say, oh yeah, absolutely, we're gonna win that game. And that's exactly what the Bandits did. I do want to kind of tip my cap to their backup. Whittam actually played a pretty solid game in that one. Didn't look too bad. They got some young guys that are pretty good. Jamison Bucktooth. They got Braden Saris, as we said before. Will Malcolm, one of the top guys in the league. I was surprised to see Nathan Grennan getting scratched. I thought that was interesting to see. Yeah, Dylan McIntosh. We all know how good that guy is. But Andrew Q is one of those infamous Bandit killers, and I thought the Bandits did an okay job at really limiting him. If you remember the last game, 7 goals. He had a 7-goal performance. He got 4 points total against the Bandits. 2 goals, 2 assists. When you have numbers like that, you have your defensive numbers like that. You have Matt Vince making 50 or 45 saves on 55 shots, and Dhane and Josh have 9 points apiece, and Resetarits and Coltrane are pushing their way through to create shooting lanes. You are starting to heat up. You're starting to look a lot better. And Not only that, Tony, but we got some positive news from this weekend. Rochester losing to Las Vegas, and San Diego losing as well. It would have been nice to see Halifax finish the job and not choke down the stretch against the Toronto Rock. And I think they had a fourth quarter lead, 2 or 3 goal lead late in the fourth. They blew that. They lost it in overtime to Chris Boucher, I believe, scored that goal. But, I mean, what are you going to do? I thought it was pretty favorable for the Bandits, a lot of the outcomes across the league. But I think right now it's kind of on to San Diego. But what a turnaround, Tony, this team has made. 20-9 loss against Colorado just less than 2 months ago. You faced against that same team. You cut their goals in half, and you win that game. So we are starting to see a lot of the changes being made in this Bandits organization. Obviously, the trade deadline is a huge shifting day for the team, but bringing in the necessary pieces that you need. Not only that, Tony, Ian McKay didn't even play. Ian McKay wasn't even activated off the IR. Neither was Nick Weiss. They were both injured. So you're gonna see Ian McKay coming back. You're gonna see Nick Weiss coming back. The one thing I don't want to see is Coltrane getting scratched or getting put back on the practice squad, because I think that is a guy. I was kicking and screaming earlier on this year about Lucas Nielsen starting every single night. He never did. I will make no exceptions with this one. I need to see Coltrane Tyson start every single night because I think this kid has a ton of potential.
Yeah, I think Tyson has earned his rightful spot, but again, it is his first technical regular season game with the boys. But again, one game in, got an assist, got 2 minutes in the box, got some playing time, got some loose balls here and there. Other than that, I mean, he looked very, very comfortable. Once he had that first shift jitters out of the way, he's like, oh, okay, I was out there for like maybe 15, 20 seconds, and now I'm like, okay, now I'm anxious for more. So good for him on, maintaining his, calm, cool collectiveness to get out there and really do his job, especially what Johnny T has cooked up for him. But I would like to see him play again. I'd like to see him play against San Diego and see what he can do with, especially how he has helped with Dhane and Josh to get back in their scoring rhythm, but also the fact that, take some more chances, kid. I mean, I got a feeling you're going to score your first goal this season before it's over. But with that being said, I want to go back to what we were talking about with the defense and the goaltending. There's the Matt Vince that we know that are I wish I could have back goals, that we've seen a few bouncers that were crucial, that could probably say 3 of them I can guess, that were right in his gear and then bounced poorly, pounced poorly in the way that they went for the Colorado's favor. It could have been a massive beating rather than have them score 10 goals. It could have been like maybe a 13-7 final or a 13-6 final, technically speaking, if they didn't have those lucky bounces. And then when we tried to get the lucky bounces our way, it just seemed like it goes into another Colorado defenseman's stick or even just sits right for the goaltender to scoop up and whatever. But that, again, down the stretch, and especially going into the playoffs, if they, we're not going to say they are yet, but when they do, those are the types of goals you have to make sure to stop, because God forbid those could be your downfall of losing that game and potentially being out early in the playoff rounds. But again, good job in that 45 of 55, really being himself. Like, good for you, Vince. Good for you.
I will say that fourth Colorado goal was a weird one. Bounced off his shoulder.
Off the shoulder, and then just,
like 98% of the save. And it rolled in. We saw that in the Saskatchewan game, too. Remember the ninth and the 10th goal to tie it? I think Vince made 90% of the save. It just kind of rolled in behind him. We're like, what?
Just had enough backspin.
You might have had a more convincing win if some of those stayed out. I mean, even a 13-8 win would be very convincing against this Colorado team, who was top 3 in the league. Like, I would have, but hey, 13-10 is still nothing to really scoff at. And
hey, more goals than them. That's all that matters.
Right. Well, when you look at it too, Dane Smith, okay, Josh Byrne, Tehoka Nanticoke. So you had 13 goals and 4 different goal scorers, I want to say.
Yep.
Dane, Josh, Tehoka, Scanlon, and
Buchanan.
13 goals with 4 different guys. Just wait till Ian McKay comes back. Just wait till Joey Resetarits will get his shooting touch going into next week. Coltrane Tyson might pot in a couple. Nick Weiss could always pot in a couple. We've seen some Matt Spanker goals. We've seen some Steve Priola goals. Just wait till everyone starts contributing. If you think 13 goals with 4 different players is impressive, yeah, just wait till Resetarits gets his rhythm, and just wait till Coltrane starts potting in a few.
Mm-hmm.
This team could be dangerous, and this is the first time this season, at least, outside of maybe the home opener and maybe the Las Vegas home game, where it looked like they were having fun out there. And
Absolutely.
I'm not saying like even in the games where they won, they weren't having fun. They just something about them just felt off, even in that Halifax win and maybe even in that Toronto win. Like something was a little bit something you felt like something was missing. And who knows? Maybe all this team needed was a trade to bring Buffalo Joe back home to really get the get the vibes going again. And we're gonna miss Ryan Benesh, but I love the idea of him coming back to Buffalo during the season. But in the games that he played, the performance he just wasn't cutting it anymore.
Right.
That's not the case with Joe Resetarits. I mean, comes out right out of the gate, lays out 2 players, sets clear shooting lanes for Dhane and Josh, and they have their best nights of the season. That's not a coincidence. That's just the way that they've been playing on offense. They're playing John Tavares style lacrosse, when simply Ryan Benesh wasn't. And it's nothing against Ryan Benesh. He's 41 years old. He's easily a top 10 Bandit of all time, and I hope he thrives with the Oshawa Firewolves. We all know he's probably going to have that 5-goal game against us in the last week of the season because Benesh always scores on us. But
yep,
it didn't work. So something there just didn't work. And I think the vibes now, when you bring up the rookies and when you're filling in holes for some of the players on the injury reserve, you got a team that's having fun. And that team that I saw on Friday night against the Mammoth was very similar to the vibes I saw in Game 3 in 2025 against the Rush.
Yep, absolutely. And especially with the way how we've been playing. So good for them to find the rhythm at the right moment at the right time, especially late in the season here, especially after a rocky, well, not rocky start, but rocky middle, if you want to call it, especially going, let me see here.
Kind of was a rocky start, too.
Well, not necessarily when you out of your first 4 games. I mean, that would have told you, hey, but then you go on a 5 out of 6, lose 5 games that you lost out of 6, and it just was a 1-5 record. Ouch.
They were 3-1 to 3-5 in 4 games.
Yeah.
That was rough.
So again, that was very, very not like the Bandits to beat themselves up rather than lose to a team. But to contact on the scoring predictions, you were close by 1 for the Bandits, and I was off by 3 for the exact.
I said 14-12. 14-12.
Yeah, and I said 16-10, and they couldn't score 3 more for me. Otherwise, I'd be like, spot on, boys. Good job.
Who knows? Maybe if Ian McKay was activated, you might actually hit that score. Who knows?
I was really hoping for a Resetarits hat trick, and that would have been perfect. There's my 16 right there.
Well, and then, of course, the Saskatchewan game, the game where Ian McKay finally looks like himself. He hurts his ankle, and you're like, oh, my, like, what the like, it almost seemed like we couldn't catch a break there. But
right, I
can sense the tide changing, Tony, and this Mammoth game was the insurance for that theory. Mm-hmm. Saskatchewan, you were beating them, 90% of the game? The Rush never had a lead in that game.
Nope.
A couple weeks ago. The only time the game was somewhat close is when it went to overtime, when it was 10-10.
That's it.
Rush never had and then you got the undertones that, hey, this team can compete, like Tony and I have said time and time again on this show. And then they beat Toronto by 5, and you're like, okay. They sweep it back-to-back for the first time since the 2024 finals. Yep. They couldn't even do that last year when they had a very good season.
Mm-hmm.
They sweep it back-to-back. Okay, let's see how they do after this bye week when they face against Colorado, a familiar foe in this barn. And then when I see them jumping out to a 6-1 lead, holding on for a 13-10 victory, I can sense the tide of this season changing in favor of the Buffalo Bandits. And I mentioned it earlier in the show. It feels like 2024. It's the mentality is the same. I don't care how you do it. Just squeak into the top 8. You have a legitimate shot at defending your crown and setting history in the National Lacrosse League. But I could feel this team starting to have fun. The energy switch is different. They're more routine in their passes. Dhane and Josh are starting to light the lamp a little bit more. Clay Scanlon is a very consistent forward. Kyle Buchanan continues to put up great numbers. Tehoka Nanticoke. his season right now is rivaling his 2022 rookie season. I mean, he is scoring like an absolute machine right now. We haven't seen that since probably rookie Tehoka from 4 years ago. So the vibes are starting to turn there. Just wait till you get Ian McKay back. Matt and Vince are starting to have fun again. Tony, I don't want to over embellish how I'm feeling right now, but you can feel it in your blood. You can feel it in your bones that this Bandits team is not going away. And the potential of a deep postseason run is absolutely on the table for these guys.
Well, one game at a time. We've always mentioned this every year. Whoever you play next, you just conquer, defeat, and move on to the next. But now we got our eyes set on San Diego next week. That is your only requirement that you have to do is beat them up. That's the only team you got to, make a statement every game. Every game I feel, and I'm pretty sure you could agree with me, Trevor, is that every game here from here on in is now considered playoff God mode. You got to play that way. And the way how you guys brought Resetarits back, Coltrane's getting his first jump on things, technically speaking, in the regular season, not just as much as preseason, and getting hurt and then waiting until it finally says, well, now is your time to shine. So this is the chance for the Buffalo Bandits now for each game to go back to basics, how they were before when they were down 5-6 or they were down 7-7, and they just shined ever so gratefully in the Buffalo Bandits fans' presence. So this is a good way that the momentum shift will go in our favor, is that we just keep on moving forward and just go against San Diego. That's our next task, and go defeat them in their barn. And then I'd like to see them, not change as much, but change the lifestyle of the National Lacrosse League by saying we're still here, we're still a threat, and we could beat anybody as whenever we want to, depending on how we feel. Actually,
I mean, I agree. Even when they were 3-5, 4-6, you go back and watch some of their press conferences. There's really no panic in that room.
None.
Like Dane Smith was always the first one to say something along the lines of, we know the task at hand. We have the right guys in this building to do it. I mean, this team has won 3 championships in a row. You think that we're just going to roll over and die. You got another thing coming. And they were all so calm. There's never a sense of panic in that room. If they lose a game, it's not the end of the world. If they lose another game, it's not the end of the world. They went on a 4-game losing streak. When they started off the season 3-1, they went to 3-5, eventually 4-6. And there was still no panic in that room. Losing to teams like Philadelphia, losing to teams like Halifax, losing to teams like Ottawa, and losing to Vancouver. When you caught up to those guys and you thought you were going to steal a win from them, lost to them. So there's no sense of panic in that room, and I think the veteran experience that the Bandits have will do them favors in the postseason. There's a lot of inexperienced teams, a lot of inexperienced cores that are in the top 5 of the standings right now, that if the task at hand is postseason experience, the Bandits will dominate them because they've been there before multiple times. And I don't need to mention Joe Resetarits' playoff stats, because that guy, when playoffs come around, he turns into John Tavares, Mark Stainhouse, Roger Weiss, like in their prime. And he turns into the Kilgore brothers. He puts the team on his back and scores a lot of goals. So the fact that we're starting to heat up now, the fact that the Bandits are really starting to pick up their game offensively, defensively, and goaltending, it's a pretty damn good feeling.
Well, like you said before, it is the vibe that is now in the room, and now let's just keep on pushing forward and going from one game at a time, making statements and making everybody know why we're still the defending champions of the National Lacrosse League.
And I think with a big 13-10 victory for the Bandits over the Colorado Mammoth at the KeyBank Center on Friday, March 13th, 2026. We're just recording this 3 days after the fact, but still feels good now. But I think we have to do our Banditland Boulevard player of the game. You can choose between a few different guys, but I'm going to go with the guy who set the tone off right away. 2 quick goals, had a couple great line mates with Josh Byrne, Dale Gananicoke, and of course Joey Resetarits and Coltrane Tyson. Dane Smith, the great Dane, is my Banditland Boulevard player of the game with 9 points on the night.
Well, I'm going to go a different way and, finding his kind of his youth, if you may say, or his locking down the system or being that brick wall like we needed him to be, even though he let a couple squeakers one go by him. But Matt Vince is my go-to Banditland Boulevard player of the game because he keeps them alive, letting the offense know, yo, I'll do my job defensively. You go do your job offensively.
Don't worry about me.
I will keep you in this game as much as I can. And he does that every single week.
It's almost like he tells his guys, just go out there, get your chances. Don't worry about me. I'll lock it down.
That's
over
right.
here.
That's right.
You got yourself a pretty damn good defense back here. You got me back here. Don't worry about it. Just go out and do your job. Don't overcompensate and try to help me out. I already got it. I got it all covered over here. Don't worry. And when Matt Vince is locked in like that, it's very hard to beat him. And that's the difference between Vince and Dylan Ward. When Vince could give up a couple bad ones, but he'll lock right in. Dylan Ward, especially on the road, when he gives up a few bad ones, he's rattled for the whole game. And we were letting him, everyone in that building was telling him that he sucked. And he was hearing it. He was rattled. And I don't think Whittam really expected to lace up the pads and get credited with the loss that night. I did not have that on my bingo board either. But I'm going with Dane Smith. Obviously, honorable mention Josh Byrne. He's getting his touch back too. I mean, 9 points each, 4 goals, 5 assists from these guys. They're starting to really heat up. But Tony, it's looking like the Bandits are they back? Was that the deciding factor? I think you need to see what they were made of in these last 3 games against top 5 teams back to back to back. They won all 3 of those games. So maybe that does qualify that the fact that the Bandits might very well be back.
I agree because, I mean, like you stated, it's just the fact of knowing that confidence level, knowing that the last bit of the season, they always have that great final push for the playoffs. And I got that feeling it's going to be another long run for the playoff run. So let's just keep going at it one game at a time, keep moving forward, making statements, and just beating the competition up like we always do, Buffalo Bandits style.
Buffalo Bandits defeat the Colorado Mammoth in Game 13 of the 2026 season, 13-10 at the KeyBank Center in front of, I think it was close to a sellout crowd. Honky-tonk night on Friday the 13th near St. Patrick's Day. Wild game, but I'm happy that we got the win. And it was also great to see Matt Vince out of Cobblestone that night, too. It was like seeing Santa Claus. You never see that. The fact that I got a picture and I finally got to meet Matt Vince, that was one of the best. Like, he never comes out to Cobblestone. So when I see Matt Vince out there, that's great. We took pictures with him. Joe Resetarits, a great guy to talk to, too. We took some pictures with him. All around, perfect night.
Do you think maybe we could get him on board and hopefully have a future interview with these guys? What do you think there, Trev?
Man, that'd be damn nice, wouldn't it?
Have Joe or have Matt finally be speaking out forward about their lifestyle careers of, being a Buffalo Bandit, having their fortunes here and, setting records and whatnot. That would be nice to have them on Banditland Boulevard. What do you think?
Trying to go for a 4-peat? Yeah, absolutely. I'll reach out. Don't you worry about a thing. We'll do
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, I mean, just great night all the way around. 7-6, the first time the Bandits are above 500 since the January 10th, where they lost to the Nighthawks. They were 3-2 at that time.
Yep.
So yeah, this is the first time since middle of January, the Bandits are a game over 500. I think it's going to keep continuing to go, but we're going to have the preview for you later in the week for the San Diego game. That's going to be a late one, Saturday night at 10 o'clock. But yeah, Bandits with a big 13-10 win. I always love beating the Colorado Mammoth. It's always a great feeling. But I think with a big 13-10 win, that's going to set a lot of confidence in that locker room and bigger things to come for the boys. But after a big win, it's always time to shout out the sponsors, too, on the Banditland Boulevard program.
Also, guys, if you didn't know that the rest of the remaining 5 games are all on Saturdays. So from here on in, it's all Saturday nights from here. So thankfully for that.
No more Y2K.
No more. Thank God. But all right, as you were once saying, Banditland Boulevard is brought to you in part by Mitchell's Tavern, located at 734 Sheridan Drive up in Tonawanda, New York. Guys, Buffalo Bandits, The Banditland Boulevard is telling you to go and check it out. That's Trevor Hauer over there. Tony LaMonica, myself, is telling you to go check out their food, check out the service. Believe me, folks, they will treat you like family. Also, we'd like to thank Herney's Journeys. If you guys want to book your next big trip or vacation spot, please contact Suzanne Pike at SuzannePike@Herney'sJourneys.com. Let her book your next big adventure. And finally, we'd like to thank Nino's Pizzeria, located at 2 locations here in Western New York, and that's at 1737 Orchard Park in West Seneca and in 315 Buffalo Street in Hamburg. Guys, if you ever want to call up and get pizza, wings, subs, you name it, as you like it, only in America. And for those checking us out here for the very first time or have continued through YouTube and through StreamYard, we want you to hit the like. We want you to hit the subscribe button. We want you to hit that notification bell that we talk about nothing but Buffalo Bandits lacrosse. And finally, for those who just listen in on every device known to man, on your tablet, your phone, or on your radio station through Spotify, give us that 5-star rating that we talk only good things about the Buffalo Bandits, your men in the orange and black.
Tony, I smell a postseason run coming. I do. And it's weird.
It smells like home cooking.
It's weird. It sounds like we're on the other side of the spectrum here because we said 4 weeks ago that they were all like pretty much left for dead, like almost on the side of the road, like roadkill.
Mm-hmm.
That's mistakes and strikes 2 and 3 right there. Mm-hmm. Once you start counting out the Bandits, you know hell might be freezing over. So that's just not possible. I think this team, shame on us for counting these boys out. But it looked bleak. I'll be real. It looked bleak. Losing to Philly, losing to Vancouver when you had a lead in the third quarter, losing to Ottawa freaking Black Bears, losing to the freaking Halifax Thunderbirds at home, dropping games like that. Like, it looked bleak. They looked old. They looked rattled. Vince didn't look the same. The offense didn't look the same. What do? A quick switch. They bring in Rez. They bring in Tyson. Byrne and Smith heating up. They go on a weekend sweep 2 weeks ago, take down the Rush and the Rock, and they gave you the undertones that, hey, maybe this team is back. They went back to 500, beat the Mammoth like they usually do at home. We can finally say that. Flip that narrative upside down, put it right on its head, that the Bandits own the Mammoth for the most part. They're 7-6 going up against a San Diego team that made no moves at the trade deadline last year or this last week. There's blood in the water here, Tony. Mm-hmm. When I look at the players or when I look at the teams that are coming up, 2 home games left. Bandits are looking for some revenge against Vancouver, just like the Bandits were looking for revenge against the Mammoth. And you have a team on Fan Appreciation Night that is limping towards the back end of the season, a team that you also lost to on the road, Rochester Nighthawks. Things are starting to look up, which once looked like a complete gauntlet. And in some aspects, this part of the schedule was a gauntlet. Saskatchewan, Toronto, back-to-back, sounds like hell on paper. Bandits won both of those. They held with the Warriors. They stuck with them throughout that whole game. They even had a lead in the second half in that game. Mm-hmm. You beat Sass, you beat Toronto, you beat Colorado. Is the back end of this schedule really a gauntlet anymore? When I just rattle off those teams. San Diego, who made no moves at the deadline for whatever reason. Patrick Merrill, I will never understand the way that he GMs a team. You're a fringe playoff team at 500, the same record as the Bandits were. Bandits went out and made a move for Joey Resetarits and Tyler Hendricks, while the Seals kind of just twiddled their thumbs and did nothing. Then you got Vancouver, Rochester, 2 teams that you could hang with, and then Oshawa to round out the year. Is the gauntlet of the schedule over?
I don't have to say. I'm not going to say it is over. We still have got
Saskatchewan. Stick Saskatchewan in the middle of the Vancouver and San Diego game. Yeah. That might be the hardest
game
over
yet.
Schedule. That'll be that for sure. Saskatchewan will be the hardest game on the schedule. On the road, in Sass. It's good. That'll be a tough one. But I will mention that the Bandits did win there in the regular season last year, too. Just put that out there.
Yes, they did.
A lot of people forget about that. But I'm happy that we got the win. Tony and I, though, we end our show with three very simple words. It's not "Are we back?" Even though we did say that a few times. Three different words. Tony, what are those three words?
Guys, like Chris Swenson always says in Banditland, in 3, 2, 1. Let's go, Bandits.
Let's
go, boys. We're champions for a reason. Go prove it to them one game at a time. Let's go back and get a 4th run for a 4th straight title. Go get them.
Let's set history. Go Bandits.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Top of the morning.